Do anybody know like my story personally? No? Okay, good. Because that's what I'm going to tell y'all about, my story, my journey, getting to the league, and like a lot of hurdles that I had to jump through, the adversity, and just keep on pushing. So I'm Cyril Grayson Jr. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I grew up playing ball from a real young age, man, like 4 years old, and I was like a quarterback, all the playground, then going into middle school and all that, up into high school, all the way up into my senior year. And fortunately, I was a good enough athlete and smart enough player to like pretty much start like the whole time. And even when I transitioned to like middle school, then high school, and it was kind of like that moment when you first get there and it's like you're not really on the list to be like the immediate starter. I worked hard enough and was able to show enough to be able to get to the point where I was starting like as a sixth grader, then as a freshman, then I got hurt my freshman year, and then I wasn't able to play like pretty much that whole season. The very first game, like on the Jamboree, like, so I'll tell you like my ninth grade year. So I went to high school in eighth grade. So I was able to play on like our eighth grade team, and I showed enough to show like, all right, he don't have to play JV, he can come on the varsity team, but I wasn't like gonna be a starter or anything like just yet. But then we got into camp, and I'm on the scout team, and I kind of try to go hard, so I was like kind of embarrassing the upperclassmen, and then next thing you know, like I'm starting on special teams. And then the very first game, like the Jamboree, I go out there and I have a good return game, and then the very first week of the season, I come out there, they don't kick the ball to me. I run to the wedge, and I'm going to block, and at this time, I'm probably like 5'6", 5'7", and I'm running a wedge. Y'all know what a wedge is, right? And like, they got one big ass dude just running and smack me. Bow! And I fall back and try to catch myself. I hyperextended my arm, broke and dislocated my medial epicondyle. That's like the inside of your elbow right there. And I was out for the season. That was the first time I had ever broken any bones, injured, and not be able to do like what I love. So like, I didn't cry when it very first happened, and now we're in the emergency room, I'm waiting, and then they take the x-rays and stuff, tell me that it's broken, and then I'm like, all right, that's cool that it's broken and all that, like, am I gonna play for the season? Am I gonna be able to get out there? And they're like, nah, you're done for the season. And that's when the tears started flowing. So I missed that year, and then kind of getting back out there, I was originally like a quarterback, but I was an athlete. That's why I was able to like be a returner and stuff like that. So I get out there, and they moved me from quarterback to DB. So I'm playing DB, kind of going in and out as like the Wildcat quarterback and all of that. So we make it to the state championship game my sophomore year, and it's like the first time my high school had ever went to a championship game. And so we get out there, I get the first kickoff return, take it back like 40-something yards, and then coach tells me, you know what, like, this is our last game or whatever. We want the seniors to get a lot of opportunity. So for the most part, like, I'm sitting on the sideline and the seniors getting the opportunity. West Monroe's running up and down the field, like, killing us. I think the score ended up 30-0, like, in the championship game. We were there though, we were in the dance. Then I got like a end around sweep, took that for like 15 yards. I remember it like it was yesterday. Coach never put me in again, you know? So I'm like, damn, like, I'm doing good. Like, why are they taking me out of these opportunities? So after that, the seniors graduated. Now I'm a junior, and I didn't really have no choice. Now I'm starting cornerback, then people going down. This was like our worst season. So we come from like a run going to the championship game. We only lost one game to West Monroe, which was crazy because our defense was so good. Like, no team had over 100 yards on us. We probably got scored like 20-some points the whole year. Like, we were that good, like, honestly. So get to the next year, we don't have good leadership. Like, we have good talent, but like our defense was just no leaders on the team. Y'all ever been on a team with bad leaders? It's kind of like everything's kind of not good when you don't have a good leader. And we had guys that tried to step into the leadership role, but the older guys just kind of was not really having like the younger guys that was stepping up. Like, they were just kind of like, whatever, you're a young guy, whatever, which isn't the way. It don't matter who you are, you can be a leader. Like, go into the building and you living like that, you walking around like you're a leader, like you can lead any group of guys because it's always like from the top to the bottom, like with leadership. So had a bad season, but I broke a lot of records. I had a lot of interceptions. I think I had like the longest return, fumble return. I returned a lot, blah, blah, blah. And then finally my senior year, I moved to receiver and broke all of the school records at receiver. So during that time, I was a track athlete too, and also I played basketball up until my junior year. I didn't play my senior year because I was like, I don't want to go to college. To play basketball is either track or football. And I excelled a lot in track. I won all the state championships pretty much since my sophomore year all the way on. I ran the 400 meters, the 200, the 800, and I won a lot. What were your times? In high school? For the 200? For the 200? I went 21 something. Yeah, like 21.8 in high school probably. My 400 time was 47.1 in high school. Yeah, 47.01 in high school. I was good. Toot my horn in track because I'm not doing it no more. So ultimately, like, I didn't get like super recruited in college, like in football. Like, I had some offers, but nothing was like major that I was like, all right, I'm going to this school to play ball. I had only been playing receiver for 1 year, and it was just kind of like they had people coming in. I was making noise, but I didn't go to camps. I didn't showcase myself. I wasn't able to like put myself out there that much as a receiver. But I was getting recruited a lot, like as a DB and stuff like that, but it wasn't no school bigger than my alma mater, Louisiana State University, you know, go Tigers. So I ended up going on a couple recruiting visits for track and field and for football, but ultimately I chose LSU because they presented like the best opportunity for me. It was an amazing recruiting visit, the atmosphere there, it was just great. And they told me that I would be able to play football and run track. And so I graduate and go to LSU. And like kind of that first year, they were already in camp. So I knew like getting on the football team was kind of gonna be like, you know, not at this time. So the plan is like, all right, next year, I'm gonna play. So go through my first track season, and then I go and talk to like the football team, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be on the football team. I go out there, I'm doing good, I'm still in shape for football, rolling, and comes around and they tell me, you know, you can't be on the football team because you're on a track scholarship. it was like the SEC rules. So I'm like, okay, now what? Because now from the age of 4 years old, my dream was always to be a football player, make it to the NFL, and that was always my goal. And so now it's kind of almost like this dream is being ripped from me, or like being taken away, or at least put on a halt at the moment. So now I'm in my head, I'm thinking like, all right, it's time to transfer. Like, if I can't play football, then I'm good on it. Like, it's time to go somewhere else. And that was what I was gonna go with. So I don't end up transferring. Instead, I end up staying faithful to the guys, because my track team, who I'd already committed to, and I'm like, okay, if it's gonna be a way, like, God's gonna make a way for me. So I committed to track, and then that's when I really fell in love with track and field, because I knew I had to do it. I bought into all the workouts, I bought into my teammates, and that paid dividends for me. 7 times All-American, 4-time national champion. So it ultimately paid off. Thank you. So getting into like my 3rd year, going to like, cause the rule was like you have to sit out of football for 2 years in order to play football. Sit out of track for 2 years. Nah, sit out of football 2 years to play football. Right, yeah. Because of the rules. So it's like a protection rule, so that the football team don't sign scholarships to everybody for golf and all that, just to load up their team and take everybody else's scholarships. So that's why I was kind of like just sitting out. But when I go back over there, I start training, going through kind of like spring with them, lifting with them, running routes and all that. So now I'm like, all right, it's all clear. I done set out my 2 years. I'm actually looking good with these guys. All right, we good, we set in. And then it comes around for camp, and I'm not really hearing things. So I go back over there, and I'm like, when's the start date? We've been in contact and stuff like this, so what's the deal? And then they come back and tell me that, Cyril, sorry about that, but you are on scholarship, and the football team now is signed up to the max amount of scholarship athletes that they can have. So now I done waited my 2 years, but now because they're signed up to the athletes, so everything's going through my mind. When you're sitting on the sideline, you can see that, man, I'm better than this guy that's playing, just release him, whatever, and then put me in there. And that's kind of like the things that's going through my head, because I'm like, damn, they kind of gave me the runaround, seemed like, and now I'm even further out. So now I'm 3 years removed from the game. So I'm just like, all right, I guess I'll just have to wait again. But still in my mind, I'm thinking like, I want to play football, because that's my dream and that's what I want to do. So what I end up doing is I end up joining like the intramural leagues, like at the rec and stuff like that, because my mom was always in my corner kind of telling me like, son, I know that's your dream or whatever, so you need to, at least be doing some drills or something. So I kind of pause there and say, make sure you're telling the people around you like your dreams. I know that you're doing them and like they can see it, but make sure like the people who really support you know your dreams, so that they can always push you to keep going and support you in those dreams. Because it's always about, it's definitely a big part of self-belief, but it's definitely when there's gonna be like some doubt in your mind, it's good to have those people that's in your corner telling you that you're good enough or to keep going. So my mom and my dad and everybody always knew my dreams. So even when I kind of forgot about them a little bit or put them a little bit on the back burner, they was always encouraging me to keep going and make sure I'm staying focused. so that I can get to where I ultimately wanted to go. So kind of fast forward to year 5. And so now I'm like done with track, and I have a 5th year to do another sport, because that's just kind of, you have 5 years of school, and then you got 4 years to play, but I only would have had 1 year of eligibility to play football. So I'm like, all right, I can for sure get on this year, right? And so I go, and just like the rest of the story was going, I go, and it's like, no, I'm like, man, look, I'll drop my scholarship. I just want to play football. But because I finished my eligibility in track, even if I would have dropped my scholarship, I wouldn't have been able to play football, because I still counted against their scholarship athletes. So now it was time to figure out another way. So I spent my 5th year of college. I had some labs that I was doing to finish out school, and then I was I was working at a physical therapy clinic, because that's what I was going to school. So I needed to get like 200 hours in order to get into PT school. So I'm doing that, but at the same time, I'm thinking of my dream, like, okay, now how I'm gonna get in, because it's like that door is like almost closing. That window of opportunity seemed like it's pretty much out, because why would any pro team give me an opportunity when I haven't played football in 5 years now? So I'm just kind of thinking like, all right, like, what do I do? Like, what steps do I take? Trying to reach out to agents and all of this. Like, nobody wanted to answer my calls, because they probably felt the same way. Like, what I'm gonna represent this guy for, and I don't have anything to show, like these coaches and stuff like that. But that didn't deter me, because I'm determined to get what I want, right? And that's what you gotta be. Like, it don't matter, like, if the opportunities look slim, it don't matter if the opportunities don't seem like they're there. Like, make those opportunities. Believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, because you can do it. If it's set in your mind and your heart, it's there for a reason, you know? So I'm like, all right, well, I need to go to the CFL, I need to go to the AFL, I need to do something. I don't know much, but I need to get some film so that I can get to my ultimate destination. So I then started going to these workouts. One of my friends, he had went to college, so I linked up with him. He was training, we was training together, and he's like, see, they got this workout for like Calgary Stampeders or whatever in Baton Rouge. It's on this date, this date, this date. He had a free workout or whatever. They invited him to it. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm going. So I'm just training, doing all these drills, 5, 10, 5, running the 40, bench press, everything. I'm just trying to get ready, like whatever it may be. And so that day came, and I went out there and I performed well, and they came and told me like, man, we really like what you did or whatever. Like, we want you to come to Florida or whatever, like, to do another workout. This is the date or whatever, like, everything will be good. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come. So time goes on, I go to another CFL workout, but at the same time, I'm trying to figure out like how I can get in front of like a lot of pro scouts, like these NFL teams and all of this type of stuff. So remembering the relationship that I had made with like the LSU guys. And so it's just such a small world. The people that I was training with, the gym, he had a relationship with the director of like a LSU pro day. And so I had been emailing them and hitting them up like, man, when's y'all pro day? Like, I'm trying to get in. And they hadn't really been like responding. They said, we're gonna talk to something, because I'm going over there, I'm knocking on the door. I was doing the opposite of what Brandy was telling y'all to do. I mean, I was in college and I didn't have those coaches, either like, or the people around me are surrounded to tell me like the right etiquette for those things either. So I go in and they just like pretty much like waving me off, kind of like what she's telling you, like they don't want that type of stuff. They want people. So somebody who I have a good relationship with from high school, he trained me then and he was training me. So he went to school with the director of the LSU Pro Day. So I'm like, let me get in LSU Pro Day. And so I ended up getting into LSU Pro Day. And the day before Pro Day, one of the pro scouts in Seattle calls me and he's like, man, I see you listed on a Pro Day, man. What you gonna do? Or whatever. I mean, you haven't played or whatever, you know, you gonna perform? I said, man, I'm gonna do something. You'll see something, you're gonna like me or whatever. Like just having that confidence in myself. And then he said, man, this is what I want you to do. I want you to come to dinner with me tomorrow night. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, where we going? He's like, we're gonna go to Route 66. So I'm like, okay, I love Route 66. Like, that's my place. We can go to Route 66. Let's go to Route 66. To pay for Route 66, but let's go. Okay, cool. So I got like, you know, low money because I'm taking care of everything that I gotta take care of. But I'm like, all right, like I gotta get in front of the scout, so I'm exhausting everything. Like, to go, and I'm telling my roommates, I'm like, man, Seattle scout just called me, man. I'm going to Route 66 with him tomorrow. I'm like, let's go. I said, I ain't got no money, but I'm gonna spend this last down because this year parlaying or something. And then so we go to Route 66 and I didn't even have to spend my money, he paid for it, you know? So I'm like, all right, good. Got a little bit more money. I'm gonna hold on to. So then, like it's the night before and kind of like my preparation before a track meet, like I just know how to lock in. Like when it's time for like game time and stuff like that, like I can just tap in and I'm a different person than who I am like right now. I'm just chill, but whenever it's time to go, I'm kind of a little bit more intense, focused, and locked in. So kind of the night before, I couldn't sleep. Y'all have that feeling like whenever it's like a big game, like it's time, like, man, like it's just hard to sleep. So that night it was like kind of hard to sleep, but one thing I always remember, like my dad telling me is like, whenever you have like this anxious feeling in your stomach, he was like, Michael Johnson always said when he felt anxious, he knew he was about to break a record. So that's what I keep telling myself. I'm feeling this anxiousness inside, like I'm just about to break a record, like I'm about to do something real good tomorrow. So I wake up, I go to sleep, finally fall asleep a little bit, but like I'm locked in, like we gotta go take the Wonderlic test and all this I'm taking so serious, y'all, like this is like she was talking about again, like this is an interview. Like I wasn't wearing a suit and tie, but I'm walking in there, I'm dressed professionally, I had some jeans, a nice shirt on, and I walk in with my bag, and I'm like, okay, we about to, how you doing, sir? You good? I'm good. Blah, blah, blah. Good to meet you. Oh, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Boom, sit my bag down, sit down, take the test. I think it might be like 20 minutes you do it, and then I'm done. I'm okay, I'm done with that, put that on the side. What's next? And then we started to get ready to go to the meat factory. Y'all probably have been through all this stuff, like when you go into like a workout and they measure you, like you damn near naked, like in just tights, and I'm getting measured. I'm like, oh shit, if I measure me, I'm gonna be small. They ain't gonna like me. That's what I'm thinking. Obviously, the size don't matter that much sometimes. So we get in there, measure up, and like I walk in, and like the scouts kind of holler at me, like, you know, what you gonna do? Or whatever. I said, just keep watching, or whatever. And then then after that, we do maybe the bench press. Maybe was the first thing that my group did, and then so I get under the bench press, and I did like 14 maybe, and so they're like, okay, good, that's nice. You know, the people. Yeah, 14. I'm just thinking like, all right, like Odell and Jarvis, when they did it, I did more than them, you know, so I'm in good shape now. Like, we haven't heard of nothing too much. They had their film and stuff, but I'm just thinking like that. I'm trying to compare myself to people who were there. So I'm like, okay. And then so the next thing, maybe it was the vertical jump. No, maybe the 40. So everybody knew, like, I didn't even care about the 40. I ran fast. I ran 4.33 like officially with 4.27. Whoever run 4.26, we can race. Yes. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I don't want no smoke. But I'll beat you. So, I'm just kidding, bro. So, okay, yeah, good people. All right. So I ended up doing that and running real fast, but I wasn't really worried. I knew I was gonna run fast. Like that, I do that every day. I can wake up in the morning and run 4.4. Like do a little stretch like this and run 4.4. But I went fast. I thought they cheated me, but I'm like, all right. Then I ran the routes, all of that. It's history. Like I was the fastest one, 5.10.5, what they didn't really expect me to do because I'm a track guy. All I can do is run in a straight line. I caught every ball that they threw to me, and that's what they were expecting. And after that, like after my 40, you know, all the pro scouts, man, giving me their card, man. Here, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna talk to you. So I'm gonna talk to you after this, and then the guy from Seattle who I went to dinner with the night before said, man, you're looking good. Or whatever, probably gonna talk to you after this. And so, after we get to probably the midway after I ran and caught the balls and stuff like that, we probably had a couple more things to do. Like, I'm relaxed now. I didn't, you know, once you perform, like, you start feeling like, all right, it's kind of like that first play, like, you get nervous, like, before that first play, but after that first smack go off, you're like, oh, okay, you're relaxed. That's kind of how it was. So, Seattle ended up saying, man, look, I'm gonna fly you out tomorrow to Seattle. We really like you. So I'm like, oh, okay, but I don't know if like he just blowing smoke up my butt. So then I'm like, all right. My phone started ringing from like a 206 number. And it's Seattle's people setting up like my flight to go out there. And then I ended up getting out there and did a tour, and they ended up signing me the next day. So now I'm like, go from, man, LSU didn't really let me play, and now I'm freaking signed to the NFL roster. I was the first, like, their first pick that year. Honestly, that's what I go with. So, like, I'm the first pick. So I get there, and then I was kind of there before all the other rookies got there because I was, like, kind of signed, so I didn't kind of count how they counted. And then it was, like, the rookie mini camp. I ended up flying home. I missed the first day because I went to graduate from college. And then I went to graduate from college, and then I went back and I continued to perform, and I ended up making it on their practice squad that year. And then adversity hit. I had a good preseason to not play. Like, you know, I think I'm gonna make the team. We think you're the best person, right? So I get there, and we ball out. First week adversity hit. They released me off the practice squad, and they're like, man, you know, if you see history, like we made like the most transactions throughout the whole year, like you'll be back signed next week. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna be signed next week. But that week passed, somebody else got hurt, and then like, I was like, okay, like I'm starting to get nervous. I had already got my apartment, like $2,000 a month, like trying to figure it out now. Like, okay, I'm out of a job. All they gave me was this first check. Like, checks now keep rolling in once you get released. So the guy who I made the relationship with, the Seattle scout, was now in a higher up position in Indianapolis. So he called me, man, sir, I just saw you released. Why they release you? And he said, oh yeah, they do that all the time. But look, you can wait, they probably will sign you back, but look, I got a spot open in Indianapolis right now if you want it. You don't have to come work out, but you gotta get on the flight tonight. So I'm like, I don't know what's gonna open up, I gotta go. So now I got this apartment that I'm paying for though in Seattle because I done signed the lease, and I gotta go to Indianapolis. Indianapolis was cool, I stayed there for like 5 weeks, ended up having like kind of a weird relationship with the receivers coach. I didn't think that it was anything because I'm going to him, I'm trying to build a great relationship. I'm going to him on off days, I'm doing everything that I need to do, but I don't know what it was. He just ended up doing some stuff that was kind of weird to me, and my guy Ed talked to me like, man, I don't know, this not your character or whatever, but because, you know, he's telling everybody this, like, we're gonna let you go. Had a good relationship in Seattle still. They called me back. I ended up back in Seattle. I had already got rid of my apartment, but it killed my credit though, right? Now my credit is horrible. I had no credit before then. So like, that's important, like finances and all of that type of stuff, to like know that type of stuff and to be up on game on like what's going on. So I ended up getting me like a corporate apartment that was like, you know, month to month. It's already furnished, and I saved a lot of money doing it that way. So long journey from Seattle. I spent the rest of the season there. We didn't make the playoffs. Then after that, I did preseason with them, ended up in Houston. From Houston, I ended up in Chicago. Finished the season with them. We went to the first round of the playoffs, double doink. Parky. And then from there, I ended up playing in New Orleans. And then from New Orleans, I had like a great preseason. I'm Randy, like I led the league like ball, man. But guess what? They released me before the season. And that one kind of hurt a little bit because I was from there. It was my favorite team. And like I did so good, so I'm like, okay, cool. It hurt, but I'm gonna end up somewhere. So the whole last season, I end up, not last season, 2 seasons ago now, like I'm at home week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and that's what she was talking about, like the representation stuff, like I balled out too good, like not to have people calling my phone or like not even getting workouts, like what's the deal? You know, like for those people that's working for y'all, like if they not hitting your line, like y'all need to hit their line and they need to answer and tell you some stuff, or they need to be gone. Like y'all a boss, you know what I'm saying? You want people around you that's working. If you own a business or if you like own anything and they have people that's at work, like, and they not doing their job, you getting rid of them. Like, they gonna end up getting paid off of you. So they need to be working for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the real of that. So I ended up at home for a long time, like damn near the whole season. And then third to last week, Dallas calls me. I come to Dallas, sign to their practice squad, and then from there, I practice that week, and Monday morning, my agent calls me. Huh?
Tell them about Miami.
I went for the workout?
Yeah, when you were like, I ran, but they're not picking me, and I said, well, how you know that? And you're like, well, the other guy came and played.
He what? Yeah, that's the type of stuff though. Like sometimes they already got, they want to see you, but they might be signing somewhere else, someone else. So can't be discouraged by that type of stuff. Yeah, so we went for a workout. Me and this other guy who I train with here, like we ball out. Like this dude wasn't catching the balls, nothing. They signed him. Like trying to figure it out. Like sometimes it's not about that. He probably had a relationship, you know, with somebody up in the front office or his agent did. So like that's important. Like Bill, I don't have that much time to probably have to talk forever. What'd you say?
You got all day.
Alright, so so I'm like build like those relationships every time y'all go into places, because relationships go so far. I was talking to, him, for like a while, but like relationships go so far, like shaking hands, looking them in their eyes, like character, like being a professional goes so far. Like taking notes, like at least looking like you're taking notes, and just different stuff. Like all that stuff goes so far, because like sometimes those scouts just come and sit up in like the meeting room, like to see how you operate, like what you're doing. And I know that happened to me when I was in New Orleans. Guys said, man, you seem like you write down everything that coach saying. And sometimes I was writing down everything that he was saying. Sometimes I was drawing a star, coloring it in, and whatever. But it's all about like, you know, being a professional, or at least looking like you're a pro. Because we're adults, like you gotta take care of like your own business. They're not gonna hold your hand through it, because they have somebody else that's gonna come to a workout next Tuesday that they probably won't have to hold their hand, and they might be a little bit cheaper, and they're gonna give them the job, and they're gonna send you home because you're not a good pro. So like that's the reality of the league. They have people that's trying to come and take your job like all the time. And they ready to give it away too, because they just always trying to make the team a little bit better. However, whether it's a good leader, whether it's a good, better player, cheaper. So you just kind of gotta always be ready. Sometimes those doors are gonna close. Like, are you ready to give up? Sometimes you get sent home and you off of work for a while. But is that like your last note that you're gonna take? Is that the one that's gonna tell you like, all right, it's time to shut down? Like if you're not to the goal that you see yourself at, like, are you gonna keep going? Or are you gonna shut it down? It's like, when you gotta go and get a job, is like that too much? Like to have a job and train, you know? Like those are the things like that you have to have in your mind, like, you know? And then it's kind of looking in the mirror sometimes, being honest with yourself, like, all right, like, is it time to give it up? You know, nah, it ain't time to give it up. So it's being a man about it, looking at yourself in the mirror, being honest with yourself, but always having the utmost confidence in yourself. Let's see. Yeah, you're like, y'all are your own brand. Like Coca-Cola gonna sell itself. McDonald's gonna sell itself. Like, because it is what it is. There is this candy. I don't know if it was like Black Diamond or my agency that sent it to me. It's like the Airhead Extreme strips, but they're not Airhead Extreme strips. But they so good, I swear to God, they so good. But they're not gonna sell themselves though. Nah, it ain't no CBD. But like, until you're reputable enough, until like you're just sold just because of who you are, like you have to keep building your brand until you're okay. Like this is the guy we want. Just Antonio Brown didn't have to come and do no workout in Tampa Bay before they signed him. I did, because he's Antonio Brown. They're gonna give him a lot of money because he's Antonio Brown. They're gonna try to give you the minimum. But take the minimum for a little while, and when you get in the door, like kick it down, don't just creep in. You know what I'm saying? Go in there and show him why. I was telling him sometimes it's kind of like when you go play the pickup, right? Or whatever, and you picking your teams, like, okay, if I come with you, like, no doubt you're gonna be my first pick, because you're my people, like, that's my first pick, and then I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna pick, like, the ones who I know for sure are good, and then sometimes, like, there's that last person that's always standing there like, I ain't get picked, but sometimes there's two reasons. It's because he done played and he was bad, and you just gotta pick him because he the last one, or like they never saw him before, so you don't really know. And then he come on the team and he light that shit up, and he like, damn, he was good. Y'all know who this is? Run the game back. Their team lost, but your team dropped. Man, give me him. You're on our team. You know what I'm saying? So every time you get an opportunity to show your best self, like you ain't gotta be the first pick, you ain't gotta be the first drafted person, you can be a 7th round, you can be undrafted, like you can be coming from the CFL, you can be coming from a German league, you can be coming from anywhere, but if every time when you step out you show your best self and present yourself as who you are, like there's somebody that's gonna see you and be like, I want this dude on my team. Maybe it's the way that he walks, maybe it's the way that he talks, maybe it's how hard he goes. But they want you for a reason. So whatever you bring to the table, sharpen that. Because that's what they bring you there for. Like, they didn't bring me to Tampa Bay to be Mike Evans. They didn't bring me to Tampa Bay to be Chris Godwin. They didn't bring me to be Scotty. They brought me to bring what I have. And if I go out there trying to be Mike and just do what Mike do, just grab the dude, throw him, and take off, like, that ain't gonna work for me. That's not what they brought me for. They brought me to be me, and the best me that I could be. And so, find what makes you go. Find who you are. Be a professional. Nurture that. Train that, and keep going. Obviously, sharpen up those weak tools the weak tools in the shed that you got, like, sharpen them up. But focus on like what makes you to be the best you, because that's what the people are gonna bring you in for being like whatever the best you is. If you're a cover corner, like cover. If you're one of the DBs that hit hard, hit hard. If you're a receiver that's fast, just be fast. Don't try to dance. Don't do all of that. If you lineman and like you agile and you can pull and guard and you go do that. But if you nice in protection, be real good in protection. Be who you are. And that's honestly what they're looking for, huh, Scout? What they looking for? Good stuff like that? I'm telling the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right. So yeah, I heard Brandy say something about, don't play for the money and stuff.
But the money's good.
But the money is good, she did also say, like, don't pay to play, right? Like, why would we play this game? Honestly, like, once we old, but to like make a little bit of money and protect ourselves and try to build something financially for our future. But don't let that be like the first thing. But the only thing that we're gonna leave with is the relationships that we make with the people around us, the money, and then the memories. That's the only thing that's coming from the game. So like remember that, and then use like the things that's behind you, like your driving forces, like what's important to you, and that's the thing that's gonna keep you in it, keep going forward and stuff like that. So what I would say is embrace your journey. Wherever you are in it, whether you at the end of it, whether you're at the beginning of it, whether you just now getting to the climax, like embrace that. Right where you are, the moments, because those moments build your story, and your story is going to inspire somebody someday. And they're going to have some haters, people right where you're from, like in your neighborhood, that's going to be tripping like, man, you've been done. Like, why you still here? But do it for them sometimes, to prove them wrong, and to show that you believe in yourself instead of their negative words. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a journey, and it's fun, and it's amazing. And my story, to me, is like so inspiring to me. Like a lot of people be like, man, that's a crazy story, but imagine sitting in it. And I ain't finished. I still got to get my gold jacket. Oh, I stopped in Dallas. All right, so I was in Dallas in the morning. Monday morning, I get a phone call from my agent. My girl just drove out here with my dog. You know, I was probably about to give me a little spot or something. And then I was like, get a phone call from my agent, and he tell me, like, man, Tampa Bay, they want to bring you in and sign you to the active roster. And I'm like,